Good morning, dear students. How are you all? I hope you are doing well. And welcome to today's class, the poem The Schoolboy. In the previous class, we have studied the first four stanzas of the poem The Schoolboy. The schoolboy doesn't like to go to school at all. He likes to be at home and enjoy the nature. According to him, nature is the best teacher and the home is the best place instead of going to school. He doesn't like to go to school. He doesn't like to spend or waste his time sitting for hours together in the four-walled room and learn the lessons. He just wanted to expose himself to the nature and learn most of the things. As I told you before, nature is the first teacher, our second teacher is our mother, and the third one is the teacher standing right in front of you, isn't it? And let us move on to last stanza, that's the fifth stanza. Before we get into fifth stanza, let me remind you the previous stanza, means the fourth stanza. How can the bird that is born for joy sit in a cage and sing? How can a child when fears annoy, but droops his tender wing and forget his youthful spring? He says that. So whenever you have a bird in a cage, the caged bird cannot experience the event of flying, isn't it? How can the bird that is born for joy? Actually, the bird is born for getting joy by flying in the sky. But instead of letting the birds to fly in the sky, we keep him in the cage. The caged bird never sing and give you amusement, or it doesn't give you excitement. You will get excited whenever you fly a bird free. Okay? In the same way, he is attributing these qualities. There are some standout qualities in people. Okay? What are the standout qualities? We have to enjoy our freedom. Our freedom should not be controlled by anybody, isn't it? Whenever you wanted to have freedom, it shouldn't be controlled or regulated by anybody. No? Here also this boy feels that a bird should be flown in the sky. A bird should not be kept in a cage and ask him to sing for you. No bird will sing sitting in a cage. How can a child when fears annoy? Suppose if you were sent to school, especially whenever you are going to your nursery classes, grade 1 to PP1, PP2 classes and grade 1 to 2, 3. Okay, you will be having a great problem with the teacher. Suppose if you do the things in a wrong manner, if you are not doing the things on right time, definitely the teacher will get annoyed. So small little kids, they don't like to be annoyed by anybody. Especially they have a great fear of teachers. If I am not doing this, my teacher might scold me. If I did something wrong, my teacher will catch hold of my ear. She will catch hold of my cheeks, isn't it? Teachers will give you punishments in such a way. Okay, nowadays the teacher has no right to touch the child without any good reason. Even there is a reason also, we are not supposed to hit you. If we thrash or hit you, definitely the complaint will be lodged, isn't it? So, no child likes this idea of getting annoyed upon them. Okay, here this boy also says like this. How can a child when fears annoy but droop his tender wing? Whenever the teacher shows her red eye upon the child, what happens? The child droops his wing. The child is compared to a bird. How a bird droops its wing and sits in a crooked cage. The cage is not so broad. The cage is not so elaborated one. The cage is somewhat, it's an enclosure which is narrow. There won't be no good space for the bird to move, isn't it? In the same way, whenever the teacher is get annoyed on the child loses his freedom. Even if he knows certain things, he cannot express because his freedom of expression is lost when the teacher shows her or his red eye upon the child. And forget his youthful spring. Whatever the child would like to do, he cannot do it because he was under the control of the teacher. So he doesn't, that's the reason he doesn't like to go to school. O father and mother, if buds are nipped and blossoms blown away. He's talking to parents. O father and mother, if buds are nipped. What does it mean by N-I-P-P-E-D? Nipping means removing. When a plant is growing and giving buds, next day it's going to blossom. It's going to open its petals and give a flower. Before it goes to bloom, if you nip it, what's the use of it? He says that the child must have his own freedom. No child's freedom can be curtailed. No child's freedom can be taken by any. Especially adults have no right to take away the freedom of children. Understand? So it shouldn't happen. And blossoms blown away. What happens? The blossoms get blown away. Blow, blew, blown. They get off. And if the tender plants are stripped, suppose small little plants are stripped at their early stage of their life, of their joy in the springing day, especially spring is the season and winter and spring is the right season for the flowers to get blossom. From morning to till late evening the flowers will kept so fresh when during the spring season and during the winter season, because the atmosphere will be very, very favorable. And the atmosphere is very, very cool. In cool weather, those flowers can be kept fresh. Of their joy in the springing day by sorrow and care's dismay. Dismay means distress. Please underline the word. O father and mother, if buds are nipped and blossoms blown away, and if the tender plants are stripped, taken off, uprooted. Stripped means uprooted. Of their joy in the springing day, whenever it is the springing days, these plants are growing nicely. When they are, the luscious green can be seen everywhere. If it is missing by sorrow and care's dismay, what happens? By sorrow and care's dismay. Dismay means distress. It means you yourself. Parents are the root cause for losing or the children losing their freedom. It shouldn't happen with the children. Children should enjoy their freedom. It means the very early stages of life, the children must not be sent to school. We parents, what do? We will be sending our children at the very early stage of their life. It's an offense. We are not supposed to take away their freedom. They still need to enjoy their freedom. Even if you send them to school, they might be playing there, they might be sleeping there, because that's the age for growing. Actually, that is the age for growing. At the growing stage of life, if you give them the bag full of books and send them forcibly to school, it's an offense. This poem is not for you actually. This poem should be read by your parents, especially the children, those who are going to school, play school and preschool. They should learn this poem because they should get the knowledge when they have to send their children to school. How shall the summer arise in joy, or the summer fruits appear? If you wanted to enjoy the fruits of summer, suppose to take mango, the plant should grow nicely before. Unless the mango plant grows and grown into a big tree and gives at the right time the right fruit, you cannot enjoy the taste of mango, isn't it? The summer fruits can be enjoyed in summer whenever we take good care of them during the other seasons. Understand? If you wanted to enjoy the summer fruit, you have to take a good care of the plant throughout the year till summer. In the same way, whenever you wanted to let your child to grow and develop and give the ultimate fruits at the end of his life, we have to take care of his early stage of life. That is, the childhood days are equal to everybody. Every child is equal and every child has got some rights, and first and foremost right the child should enjoy is his freedom. First, at the right time only we have to send our children to school. So you can educate your aunts and uncles if they have the thought or the idea of sending their children at the early stage of life to schools. Okay, you please talk to them, and don't consider that you are a small little child, you cannot give them any suggestions. Okay, you can give them the suggestions, you can talk to them in a friendly way and make them understand the importance of freedom of a child. Understand? And let us move on to the next lesson. Okay children, let's move on with lesson number 6, that is, this is Jody's farm. F-A-W-N, farm is a young deer. In this lesson, actually it's a new lesson I just wanted to introduce, and we will go for the details of this lesson in the next class. But let me introduce this part at the beginning. Before you read, you need to know about it. Often, instead of rushing to the doctor to treat a small cut or a burn, we find quick and effective cures using things available at home. Can you think of some such home remedies? Yes, of course. This is the season of COVID, and this is the season of airborne and waterborne diseases. Instead of going to a doctor, certain home remedies we can take it. Okay, we already know certain home remedies because our grannies and grandpas usually give us some clues. Suppose if you have a fall and cut your head, or you cut your elbow or something, immediately they'll bring some coffee powder and they just spread it on the wound and they'll put a bandage, isn't it? It's a home remedy. Whenever you burn your finger, they'll ask you to get the ink. Nowadays nobody is using ink pens, but once upon a time, ink is one of the most important article, the most important thing that is always there at home. Because in those days people used to use ink pens. Ink pots were there at every home. They used to put that ink over the place where the finger or anything that's got burnt. Okay, so these are all called home remedies. Instead of running to a doctor, you have to do the first aid first of all, and then after doing the first aid, before you take the patient to a doctor, you have to control the blood flow, you have to control the pain, you can also have a bit of relaxation. Okay, so for that sake, what you need to do? You have to follow certain home remedies. Always running to a doctor for simple and silly reasons is not a good approach. Okay, before you get to a doctor. Of course, if it's a serious problem, definitely we have to go to a doctor. But it is such a simple thing. Before we rush to a doctor, so we can treat that problem with the small home remedies. As I told you, coffee powder and sometimes the ink. And there are so many other things where we use a certain easily available things at home. Those are called home remedies. What do we call them? Home remedies. These are the most effective way of curing that problem. It doesn't cure, at least it can treat the problem. Treating is different, curing is different. Treatment, after taking the treatment, finally you get the cure. Immediately after going to a doctor, you never get the cure, isn't it? Okay, sometimes certain problems are very serious, they should be treated for weeks. So there are certain problems, they can be treated for months and years even. So some long-standing diseases also sometimes occur to people. So remaining part of this lesson will be learned in the previous class. Until then, goodbye, take care.